We'll, of course, keep a close eye on that front. Moving on for now, the UK is set for an early election as lawmakers approve the Prime Minister Boris Johnson's bill to hold elections on December 12th. The legislation still needs to clear its final hurdle at the House of Lords, where it will come up shortly. This will be the UK's first December election in nearly 100 years and its third election in 5 years. The second chamber of the Parliament is also expected to pass the bill. The House of Commons overwhelmingly supported Johnson's proposal as the Brexit deadlock continued. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that an early election would put a hard stop on further Brexit delays.
Because, Mr. Speaker, without that hard stop of an election, without that moment of truth, the electorate will, I'm afraid, have a sense that we're all like Charlie Brown, endlessly running up to kick the ball, only to have Parliament take it away, whisk that ball away yet again, only to find that Parliament is willing to go on delaying and delaying to January, to the end of January, to February and beyond.
The opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn, meanwhile, said that his Labour Party was ready for elections and that he is confident that a no-deal Brexit was off the table.
We are ready for an election. We're going to go out there with a very strong message of how we transform our society to end inequality and injustice and deal with the devastating poverty that so many people face. We always said we wanted an election. We do want an election, but we wanted no deal to be taken off the table. We've now had confirmation from all 28 EU member states that no deal is off the table.
The development comes as EU extended the Brexit deadline to January 31st, 2020. The outgoing EU Council chief tweeted that this might be the last delay. The UK Parliament is yet to agree on a divorce deal with the Eurozone. What happens as the UK heads for elections now? Firstly, Prime Minister Boris Johnson is hoping that a poll would give him enough numbers in the Parliament to get his deal approved, while Corbyn's Labour Party is hoping to come to power. However, many analysts warn that the Brexit deadlock will continue if no party gets a majority.
With this endless delay, and I don't know about you, Mr. Speaker.
The Boeing CEO, Dennis Muilenburg, admitted to his company making mistakes as US lawmakers grilled him over the two deadly MAX 737 crashes. Muilenburg's appearance before the Senate Commerce Committee came on the first anniversary of the Lion Air crash. With the victims' families in attendance, lawmakers questioned Boeing's close relations with the U.S. regulators. Remember, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, has been accused of overlooking design flaws in the Boeing jets.
He talks about Jedi mind tricking of regulators with at least one person who works for the FAA. So with regard to the instant message conversation, when were you made aware of the existence of the November 2016 messages?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, so I recall I was made aware of that message earlier this year. It was discovered as part of a document gathering process in response to a government investigation.
So it was after the crashes. You were made aware of it this year?
Sir, as I recall, I believe it was prior to the second crash earlier this year.
Was it your decision to wait months before disclosing this to the FAA?
One of the lawmakers said that Boeing had mentioned about the faulty software, the MCAS, in the 1,600-page safety manual only once.
Those pilots never had a chance. These loved ones never had a chance. They were in flying coffins as a result of Boeing deciding that it was going to conceal MCAS from the pilots. In the over 1,600-page original flight manual of Boeing 737 MAX, the aircraft's new MCAS computer system was mentioned only once in 1,600 pages. In the glossary of abbreviated terms. So when Boeing came to us and they said it's the pilots, inexperienced pilots, you were lying to us as well.
346 people lost their lives in the two Boeing 737 MAX crashes. First in Indonesia and then in the Ethiopian air crash earlier this year. All on board were killed. The anti-stall system pushed the plane's noses down. Pilots who were not briefed about the MCAS were unable to regain control. The Boeing CEO began his testimony with an apology to the victims' families.
Before we start today, I'd like to speak directly to the families of the victims who are here with us. On behalf of myself and the Boeing Company, we are sorry, deeply and truly sorry. As a husband and father myself, I'm heartbroken by your losses.
However, the victims' relatives were not satisfied, of course, with the apology and said that Muhlenberg failed to provide answers.
Yeah, the previous 3 weeks have been so hard for us.
Are you satisfied with anything you heard today from Muhlenberg?
No, I was not satisfied. Like I said, he kept on beating around the bush. He doesn't answer questions unequivocally. He needs to answer questions as asked.
Trouble has been mounting for the American aviation giant. It is facing a series of probes. Earlier this month, Indonesian investigators blamed Boeing and American regulators for overlooking passenger safety ahead of the Lion Air crash. A quick look now.